Okay, so I've titled this presentation Transforming Elementary Level Music Instruction, an Integrated Approach to Comprehensive Musicianship. When I first started learning music, learning specifically piano, I didn't have anything other than piano in my lessons. I was fortunate enough that my family took us to church and put us in children's choirs, so I started singing in choirs very early on. I was singing in choirs in school. I had music instruction at school, but I didn't ever have anything that included improvisation or aural skills, anything like that. And I think it's really, really important, especially in our current culture, that we see ourselves as not just teaching piano, but we're teaching music. And especially at the elementary level, what we do really makes a big difference in getting them started in their connections between reading and hearing music. So I've been influenced by a number of people over the years, and especially influenced by my colleagues in the music education faculty here at Ball State. So I think with the era of budget cuts and situations where students don't have music in their schools anymore, it's really, really important that we try to look at this in a very holistic and comprehensive approach. So this is the bibliography list. These were the things that I was showing you prior to the start of the PowerPoint. One that I did not mention because it's number 3, it is a digital download. So I do not have I didn't have a book to show you for that because it is a digital download. But this is where you'll be able to go to find some of that information. Okay, so when we think about a music learning process, there are some important philosophies, theories, ideas about teaching that we need to think about. Generally, the things that we're going to talk about today were rooted in the theories of Pestalozzi and formulated into curriculum for the Boston Public Schools by Lowell Mason in the 19th century. So the things that I'm going to reference, especially here at the beginning, are from are outlined in the Bluestein book and also in this Sound Connections book, which is by my colleague, Dr. John Esther. It's really important to have core principles or core, sometimes people call them mission statements or plans, strategic plans, things like that, but things that really help define how and what you're doing with your teaching. So some of the core principles that we might consider, first of all, is to begin with hearing and experience. So sound comes before sight and experience comes before explanation. But in traditional teaching, this is not the way it usually happens. I think about my lessons growing up, and everything was visual in terms of the notation, and there was an explanation first. So I'm asking you to think about the possibility of sort of flipping that around and beginning with sound rather than sight, and beginning with experience rather than using a lot of explanations. In Gordon's core principles for music literacy, first of all, he said, teach only one thing at a time before asking a student to attend to all at once. So for example, we're going to learn rhythm and tonal patterns separately at first, rather than trying to do them at the same time. You probably have encountered students, maybe they're much more drawn to rhythmic patterns. They seem to do very well with rhythm. Others have very poor rhythm, but they do fine with their tonal patterns. Some people play things from a score with no problem. Some people, they can't read the score, but they can improvise all day long. So there are a lot of things that we have that we want our students to learn. And it's really important that we help set up them to learn these things really well by just separating out everything that they need to do. You're going to learn the rhythm and tonal patterns separately at first. And then when you're doing sight reading or practice plans for your students, it's important to employ various steps before they actually put their fingers on the keyboard, so that they actually have experienced or have some idea about the piece before they have to ever play it at the keyboard with employing everything at the same time.